Going. All right. Hello, everyone. Make sure this is live. It looks like it. People saying hello already. Hi,
Hey guys.
Stacy. Hello, friends.
Hey.
Hi, Cheryl. Thanks for coming. We got Jenn and Stacy here. We're the sick crew today, but we're here to chat.
Mm-hmm.
I told her I brought my Kleenexes and my cough drops, but we
Me
are
too.
doing it. We're having an author hangout with Stacy Reid. So as usual, I'll just have her intro herself, and then I have some preset questions you guys sent me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but feel free to put questions in the chat as you think of them, and I'll share them with her when we have time for that. So
Hey
yeah,
guys. I don't know. Thanks for being here. And Stacy Reid. And as you guys know, I mostly write historical romance, and my great love is actually paranormal fantasy romance. And that's it. I write, I read, I love. Have the most amazing husband. You guys should be tired of hearing about him.
I have questions about him.
and,
I'm not tired of hearing about him.
and I live like half of the year in Canada and half in Jamaica. So
Oh, that's the have to live for, though.
I
Oh,
know.
thanks, Amanda. But we're here. We wanted this interview to happen. We
Yeah,
just
we're
needed,
ninjas.
I got my cozy blanket.
So
She's got
and
hers.
I'm in my Udi.
I love it. I mean, I sit on my floor in front of my bookshelves all the time. So, like,
Mhm.
I look cute because it was a church day. Otherwise,
Mhm.
I would be in sweatpants. There we go. Everyone's so happy. Hello, friends. Hey, hey.
Right.
We will dive right in to these. Let me pull up my questions here. I like to start, come on, questions, with what is your romance reading journey before we get into your writing?
Oh,
What's your romance reading story?
I think my first romance would be, well, I used to read Nancy Drew, and I thought there was a romance there because Nancy had her boyfriend, and I thought it was so cute and everything, and I wanted a little bit more. And I remember in the seventh grade, my sister at the time was in the 10th grade, and she brought home a book, The Flame and the Flower. And
Yes, you did.
yeah, and that was by Kathleen E.
Was
And
it?
I
Yeah.
I read that book and I thought it was amazing. And then it was so cool that I was 12 and reading about all this, like the sexy stuff and
Yeah.
and all of that. And I used to dabble in writing, little stories then.
Okay.
But then after that it kind of took a little slant to more romancy.
Hmm.
And from I read The Flame and the Flower, I just started searching for everything I could find. Most was a Harlequin romance and Mills and Boons, and that was
Hmm.
just the journey. And I still remember my second book was called Moonlight in Upper Culpo. I can't remember well. It was a
Okay.
Harlequin, and I love that book. I've been trying to find it of late and cannot find it.
Oh,
And but that's just how I started. I was 12. Still remember that.
awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I was 13 and 14 too. And the same as you,
Mhm.
like I loved there was it was called the Thoroughbred series is what I read.
Mhm.
And the main character always had a boyfriend and that was my favorite stuff.
Yeah,
I was
me
like, I
too.
need more.
Exactly.
And then I found Catherine Coulter and just went off
Oh,
the deep.
yes, I love her and Joanna Lindsay. Were
Yes.
my group
My mom had
with.
boxes of Joanna Lindsay, and I'll never forget it because I know now that it was Savage Thunder because I
Mhm.
clearly remember the step back.
Love that book.
I thought that step back was real hot
Exactly.
when I was a kid.
I love that book. I read it like dozens of times. An
Yeah.
angel.
Oh my gosh. I need to. Well, and that's the thing is, I've only read two Joanna Lindsay, but I own them
No.
all now. I
Yeah.
own them all, but I
Yeah.
haven't read them yet because I don't know, I'm scared to lose the magic of just how like beautiful they are.
Yeah.
Because
They're
their heroes are kind of
great.
mean.
You won't
That's
believe
my
them.
that's my thing with like I love alpha heroes, but
Mm-hmm.
those alpha heroes of the 70s and 80s were also like
A little bit
mean.
mean. That's so
Yeah.
true.
Like it was like, oh, she's hot. I'm gonna make her love me.
Yes, because even I read over The Flame and the Flower, like I think maybe last year, and I was like, wait a minute.
Yep.
Seriously? Like
Yep.
I was like, this is some forceful shit. And I was
It
like, I
is. It
love
is.
it.
I
But I
mean,
was like, yeah.
yeah, I'm a dark romance lover, so like
Mhm.
I want to try to read that again with being like, let's just pretend this is a dark romance, and then it's
Yeah.
supposed to be like,
Yeah. I love
but
dark romance too. And
yeah,
Juba's consent. Don't know why. Just love it.
yeah. Hey, it's fiction. You can love
Yeah.
that crazy stuff. Okay.
Sorry.
Nope, you're good. So along that, like, what are some of your favorite recent romances you're
Well,
reading now?
actually, I'm reading. I'm actually
Oh
reading.
yes, that one's
Um,
so stunning. I have that one. I need to read
really? So I
because
just
right on.
started. I just started a couple days ago. So this is I haven't read in a while,
Okay,
and then I picked this up, and I was like, okay, so this is like my most recent read, and I'm hoping to finish it by maybe when I finish my book that I'm writing.
right as a reward.
I'll finish this treat right here. But I love paranormal romance and mafia romance and dark romance. I hardly read historical romance,
Okay.
actually, unless most friends
Mhm.
and stuff. So I've been reading a lot of. Actually, I downloaded a couple today to read. I'd have to check my Kindle. But I grab so much stuff, and what's it called? I'm in that Facebook group, the deliciously dark and taboo,
Ooh.
the the hitched. Yeah, this
Oh.
this one
Who's
right
that
here.
guy? Oh,
Hitched.
I don't know
Yeah,
if I've seen that one.
it's a dark hitchhiker romance. Hitched.
Oh,
So,
that's
so I'm
terrifying.
dying. This is it. I don't know if you can even see it. I'm dying to get into this one right here.
I love
So
it.
yeah.
I love it.
So hopefully
I've
this week.
I've been ready for a resurgence of some mafia romance because I was
Hmm.
thinking to myself because I'm very excited for Mila Finelli's next one
Hmm.
coming in March. But I like kind of overdid it for a little bit, so I haven't read any in a little while, and I was
Yeah,
like, it's time. That's my true love is mafia romance. I
I
need
know.
to do it.
Sometimes I read so much too, I have to just step away for a while
Yes.
to say
Yes.
they're, starting to just blur together. So I was like, okay,
Yeah.
step away for a while. But I really haven't read in a while, like a few months well. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, you deserve it. You need to treat yourself to some. So,
I know.
all right. So now we get into this. So, what inspired you to finally sit down and get a story out, get the first one done?
The very first book. Oh,
Yeah.
so my very first book was my paranormal romance, Eternal Darkness. And I don't know, I tell you, I always love writing. And when I started, university and I wanted to do creative writing, everyone was like, "Oh, that's stupid. How can it help?" I live in Jamaica, and I mean, there is no market or environment there for romance writer.
Mm,
And my father, especially, would be like, "Oh, it's stupid. Don't study that." And not only that, the university didn't offer it. So I did human resource management, and then when I finished in like 2011, I remember I got a job offer and I was so miserable. I
mm,
was like there for maybe 2 weeks and I hated it. And I was like, oh my God, I racked up all the student loan debt for the past 4 years doing human resource management when all I want to do is write. And I had a ball fest. And of course, here comes my husband. And he was like, why are you so miserable? And I'm like, because I really want to write. I mean, all my sisters, aunts, father, mother, they're all saying, it's nonsensical. So focus on business. And I did that and I'm miserable.
mm.
And he was like, well, write. And I was like, but how? And he's like, just write. And he's like, quit your job and I'll shoulder all of those things and you just write. And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah. And I listened, I quit, and I just started writing that book. And that was just the beginning of that.
Wow.
And I couldn't get it published, of course. When its first draft, it was terrible. No, I can see that.
Yeah.
And I was looking for a publisher and entangled publishing. I was hearing a lot about them and people were saying, they're so great and they're so amazing. And they sent out a call for historical romance novellas.
Okay.
And the deadline for that call was the Sunday, and I saw it the Friday. And I'd already submitted my paranormal to them, and they said, no, something is missing. We're not going to take it. And I keep thinking, but if I just have an in with a publisher, I would be good. And I love reading historical romance, so maybe I could
Mhm.
try and write one. And that's how I wrote The Duke Shotgun Wedding in like 2 days. And I was like, because it was a short novella, only
Uh,
25,000 words. So I wrote it in 2 days. I submitted, and I was so shocked when, like, 3 days later, they sent an email saying, "Oh, we loved it and we want to publish with you." And that was just the beginning of that journey.
wow,
You know?
that is so cool. You're like, I'm gonna get it in. I guess gotta write historical. Let's do it.
And that's how I started that historical romance journey.
That is amazing. See, oh well, thank you.
Oh my God, I love Her Wicked Markets. It's like one of my favorite book ever. I, I just Marion and Nicholas is like one of my favorite couples. I just love that book.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get lots of love for hubby here. He's so great.
I know, right? I'm keep waiting to unveil the serial killer personality. I'm like, you're a little too fantastic, but I'm still working with it.
That is amazing. That is amazing. Well, you know what? We'll just do. I see. I had this one up because I love asking this to the
Yeah,
ladies. So why don't we just talk about him some more? Because he's
my
he's
hobby.
dedicated in pretty much every book that you do. So
You know, because
tell
he's
us how you met and how you
oh
got such a great
wow,
man.
wow, we actually met in high school.
Oh,
So I attended an all girls school, and it's called Woolmer's, and he attended the boys' school of the same name, Woolmer's, and we only had a fence separating us, and the extracurricular activity cadet was on the boys' side, and a friend of mine, um, Ava, she was like, "Oh, you should follow me over to the boys' side to join cadet," and I was like, "Oh, why would I ever want to join cadet?" And I went, and he was 16 at the time, and I met him, and I was like, I don't know, we just kind of clicked because he was different, and everybody thought he was odd and strange, and he's very silent. I don't know how to describe him. Very brilliant, but everyone was like, "Oh, he's odd, he's weird." But I didn't find him odd at all, and I just liked him, and we just clicked.
you're
And
kind of odd though. That's
yeah,
okay.
like he made sense. And when he speaks, like, a lot of people can't follow his progression and his logics,
Okay.
but somehow I kind of got what he was saying, and that was just, even now today, it's like I'm his interpreter. It's so fascinating, and we just clicked. That was the beginning of it.
Wow. How long have you been together then?
20 years, 21 years. Yeah,
Oh,
from I was
that
15
makes me so
to
happy.
21 years.
Are there any particular heroes he's ever inspired for you, or is he in all of them? I know that's what some
A
say.
little bit of him, a
Yeah,
little, like every hero has a little bit of him,
yeah.
but Simon from A Matter of Temptation
Okay,
embodies my husband the most.
okay.
Like,
Just you describing
seriously.
him, I was gonna ask if
Yeah.
he reminded you of him the most
I
because of
was
how you
like,
described it.
I'm going to share. I always say that, my husband is in a little bit of all of my books, but I was like, I want to shape someone completely around you.
Oh,
And then I just kind of went with that. So
oh,
a
I love
good
it.
of him, a lot of him is there in Simon. That's for sure.
That is so cool. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe it even says that in your. Does it say that in your author's note? Is that why I know that, or maybe not? I don't know. Because I was like,
Maybe,
when you're describing him, I was like, oh, I wonder if it's this one.
definitely.
That's so beautiful. I love it. I love it. Well, that makes sense why that's one of my favorite books because you put a lot of passion into that.
Right?
Yes, Warda. It's so good. It's so good. Great book. That's why I had to put it on the stand. I was like, gotta put it up there.
I loved writing it.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. Let me not just we can't just gush about him the whole time. No, let me get into some things.
I actually can.
Yes, right. I mean, we won't be bad, but okay. So when you're in the writing mode,
Mhm.
what is kind of like the typical day look
Oh
like for you
man,
or
that
any
is
film?
so. I'm all over the place with that. It's like yesterday I wrote 11,000 words for the day.
Mm-hmm.
But yet still the day before that I managed maybe 300 words.
Hmm.
So it's I don't know, I don't have I know like most authors will have a set to say today I will just work 8 hours for the day and that's it. I'm not able to do that. I know a lot of it has to do with my health,
Mm-hmm.
and I have to feel good enough or in a space physically and mentally to work. So
Right.
because of that, I'm always late with my deadline. And if my amazing editor ever sees this, the book is coming soon. I promise.
That
So,
sounds.
so
I
I'm
mean,
always late, and it kills me that I'm always late. But there are times when I just have really good days where I just
yeah.
sit, I feel good, I don't feel so bad, and the words just flow.
Right.
And I've written 20,000 words in a day already. And I would pause and I was like, oh heavens, I've been writing from like 8 a.m. and I blew the whole day past midnight, go back to the next day to 2 a.m. and then I stop. I was like, wow, I did 20,000 words, but then for the next 2 weeks, not a word.
Wow.
So it's hard for me to even say what a day is like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just,
I mean,
just
every time I put this question up, people are like, there's no
Mhm.
typical day, but it brings about this
Yes.
conversation always of like,
Mhm.
because some people do have the luxury of like, oh, I write 5 hours a day this time
I
and I'm able
know,
to
and
do this.
that's just
Which,
so grateful when I hear it. I've tried it,
yeah,
but it's just difficult. It's I've tried it. It doesn't work. I take a
well,
lot of pain medication daily, and just to be on them and to be focused is difficult. So when I do get that clarity to work, I just work. When it's not there, I just have to just keep back, do what I love, either read or watch Chinese romance drama, which I adore,
wow.
like adore, and just be with family. And when I write, I just write.
I love
So
that. Well, we have some, I love that. Just right when we got to, I love it.
yeah.
Um, we're talking about your husband loving him. Oh, hey,
Oh.
Amanda. Amanda saying hello. And oh, that book made you my favorite author. That's so great. It's so cute. A Matter of Temptation. Yeah, Ward Up. You're gonna love that one. You'll love it. Just finished A Matter of Temptation last night, and it's the best historical I read since Her Wicked Mark. Love it.
Thank you.
Ooh, what's your favorite?
Oh, you really don't want me to start talking about Chinese romance.
Stacy, after
Oh, there's so much. There's so much.
don't
I
distract our conversation. We'll come back to it at the end, and you can tell. You can touch. You
love
think
life
about
like a
it.
legacy.
We'll keep going through book questions. Okay. So what comes first for you on
Hmm.
a character idea or a plot? And of course, this can be different with every book, but do
Hmm.
you have how it typically comes about, or is there an interesting historical event where you'll be like, "Ooh, I want to place it during this"? Like, what happens for you?
Um, it varies. For some books, it would be the characters. I would say 90% is the characters, and
Okay.
that's because I'm not a plotter. I don't plot.
Okay.
So I have an idea. So I don't know how to phrase it. So I would anything can spark an idea, but mostly the idea it sparks is really the character. So I'd
Okay.
be like, oh, I'm seeing this hero, and like it would just be so cool if there's this hero who maybe trades in secret in the London underground, and what if you had this duchess and her son got kidnapped, and she had to go to this man to like get whatever. And I say most of this to my husband, and then we'll just start talking about the characters, and then I'll then say, oh, and maybe this kind of heroine will fit him, and it's almost like in talking about the characters, the plot is also in there
Okay.
working in at the same time. And then I drop whatever I'm doing and run and just start jotting down, and then I'm like, okay, I'm going to build a story around this couple right here.
Okay.
And then I start to write, and as I write, the story unfold. So I never know at the beginning of writing what is going to happen in the middle, or the end, or even in the next scene. Literally,
Wow.
I write and make it up as I write for the first draft. And then first draft is always rough. And then
Sure.
when I go over it, I then, shape it up and fix it.
Right. That's so cool, though. That's so cool to trust that
Actually,
process by now,
yeah.
because I mean, I'm sure that could be stressful if you're like, I don't know where it's going.
Sometimes, sometimes, because sometimes I'll just stop and I'm like, I have no idea what's happening right now. Like, I don't know what's supposed to happen next. And then I'll just stop thinking about it and always discuss stuff with my husband because, oh my God, he's so brilliant. Every time I'm stuck, I go to him, but because he's so logical, and then he's like, so, and he will ask questions to so, oh, so why are you stuck? But why would the character do this? And the questions he asks then forces me to think a little deeper, and then as I explain to him, it's like,
It comes to you.
stuff is just opening up and just, so I'll bother him. I'll jerk him at 3 a.m. in the morning and say, Psst, can you wake up? I need to bounce something off you. And he's amazing. He just get up right away and say, okay, hit me. And then we'll just
Aw.
be there for the next 2 hours just bouncing ideas off each other. And then he just goes back to sleep and say, woman, don't bother me again for the next 5 hours.
Go write it now. Go write it now.
I was like, okay.
Love
And
that.
we do
From
that.
from one of my viewers, I actually had someone ask about where the story for My Darling Duke came from. Were those characters first or story first for him for that one?
Oh,
Where'd that
it,
story come from?
it's a good one.
Because that's a very unique story.
It
So,
was,
love that.
I think maybe story first.
Okay.
In that there was a period where I wanted to do a retelling of fairy tales.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh, I'm gonna do Beauty and the Beast, and Cinderella,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to do all of them, the Ugly Duckling, and I want to do, series. And then I was like, first, let me start with Beauty and the Beast, and then I don't know, I started to think about, I don't really like, I don't know how to explain it. I don't really like, I mean, stories that follows the same,
Mm-hmm.
like the same beast, or I don't know how to explain it. I just wanted to be
Okay.
different from
Okay.
the
Got you.
Beauty and the Beast story, even though I don't
Mm-hmm.
read it a lot to see,
Yeah.
see how much they would diverge. And a lot of people, and at the time, I had a kind of little bit of argument with my sister, and I remember she said that it must be so hard to love you because you're always sick. And I was like, the hell?
Well,
And I was like, it really hit me. And I was like, is it really so difficult to love someone who is always in pain, always sick? And then I was like, I want to write a hero or a heroine who is like this, lives with daily pain and this
right.
chronic condition. And then I don't know, Alexander just saw Sebastian. They just come, and it was just like that.
Wow.
And so sometimes a lot of real life things get threaded there somewhere. And it was more like a challenge for myself to say, okay, try and write my hero. Like,
I mean, there's so much interesting about that story too. I mean, that was my first time that I heard of
yeah.
you was that book for me.
Mhm.
Um, and I mean, there's something very powerful just to, I mean, it's a bit of a giggle, but it's also awesome. There's definitely that interesting in that trope of like when either character, but in this case, it's a very visceral thing because of his
Mhm.
accident. But when you first have sexual feelings for someone and it's literally a physical like
Yeah.
that's happened in a few stories I've read for like, or like, what is
Yeah.
this feeling? What's happening? Things are tingling. What's going on? And it just made the story very powerful. Like I said, I knew I would giggle, but it makes it very
Yeah.
powerful because it's that like literally an earth moving thing
Mhm.
when you have the connection and like
I know, because every time I tell
we
people,
see
oh,
that.
first time I kissed my husband, boyfriend, then the world moved. They're like, "Oh, you're so dramatic. That does not happen." I was like, "It did." I was like, my heart was pounding and my knees went weak and like everything was just like, "What's happening?" I know it was my first kiss, but I didn't expect it to really happen like how they said in the romance books. I know it happens, right?
Yeah,
Everyone thought I was so ridiculous.
I love that. Oh, it's beautiful art. Oh, thank
Thank
you.
you.
I don't know why I'm saying thank you for you. I'm saying thank you for the comment, not to
Those
you.
are
You can say thank
thank you for me.
you. Anyway, um, well, I also felt that in um oh, just went on my brain in The Wolf and the Wildflower. Not to spoil for everybody.
Oh, you've read it.
I did. I got an arc of that. When I see your book show up on NetGalley,
Yeah.
I'm like, it's mine right now. But there's something special about that couple where we won't spoil for anyone, but the hero has almost like an extra sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
And literally, like, I'm sitting down to read this arc, and like, she walks in the room, and he's like, I can smell her. And I was like, I love this so much. Well, I just love that in any book, but it's like when
Yeah.
the two characters have an extra sense for each other that everyone else is oblivious to.
Yeah.
And that definitely comes through in that book. And I was like, oh, this is gonna be great. Like I just knew immediately, I was like, this is gonna be great.
And I'm so excited about it. I'm like, I was so nervous about it in that I know it's different.
Yes.
And I know lots of people, readers are saying, oh, it's different and
Mhm.
plot is strange or bonkers or whatever. But I just really wanted to write that
Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
And it's a trilogy actually. And I just,
Yay. Oh, good.
you know,
I'm
I'm glad.
excited. I didn't know that. I wasn't sure because I didn't see a series name for it. So I was
Yeah,
like,
I'm still trying to figure out what the series name. I know the second book is called The Rose and the Raven, and
okay.
I've have an
Oh,
idea about the characters already, but I have no idea for the series name.
okay. Well, I'm
Yeah.
excited. I'll be
Um,
patient. I'm ready because it was fun. So yeah, I think it's true. I think it is a bonkers plot, but some of
yeah,
my favorite historicals ever, like they are,
I know, right?
like Loretta Chase, like wow, I just forgot the name. Lord of Scoundrels, like that is a bonkers plot, like some of the greatest ones ever do.
Yeah.
So, but I also love rugged man type
Mhm.
things, and so James definitely fits that. So it works for me. It works. Okay, back to some of these here. Okay, we did that one. Oh yeah, I had a couple people ask. We have some new readers of yours who asked, where do you recommend people start with you,
Wow.
or if you? I know it's hard to say about yourself, but where do you feel like is a good beginning for people?
I think maybe. Oh wow, that's such a hard question. Um, Maybe accidentally compromising the Duke, the first book in the Wedded by Scandal series.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt like that was I think that was like the first book where I grew a bit as an author. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that series. So before that, I think I did four historical romance, and they were good on the shorter side, and
Hmm.
I think focused more on the sexual connection
Hmm.
between the couples than the heart to heart. And
Yeah.
I remember thinking when I was doing What It by Scandal that I wanted to grow it a bit more beyond just that, deep sexual connection. And I think that was the first book. I probably accomplished that a little bit in
Yes.
and and stuff. So I would start for new readers with Accidentally Compromising the Duke. Though Sinful Wallflowers are longer books, so they're more of a slower burn.
Hmm.
But the Wedded by Scandals are on the shorter side, so you get all the hotness and the sweetness quicker, and maybe you'll feel less like this is dragging, and then and then you'll be like, oh, why am I reading her? So start with the Wedded by Scandal. Start with the Wedded by Scandal. One
Yeah.
second.
Those ones have beautiful covers too. Get great covers for all of your books. Oh my gosh. Just love.
1 second.
Yep.
No, I did not. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you get to choose any of your covers? Like when you were, have you always been with Entangled? Have they done all that or?
No. So all my Macmillan, well, most of my historicals, except for the Forever Years novella series, are all with Entangled.
Okay.
No, I mean, I get some sort of input, but mostly after the cover's been designed.
Okay.
So it will, like, maybe it's in the first draft because cover designers themselves go through their first and second and third draft. So maybe in the first or second draft stage, they'll say, "This is a cover we have based on how you've explained the characters to us." Because I have to fill out that character sheet to explain how they look physically and things I would not want on my cover or things I would want, and they kind of try to fit based on what I describe as much as possible in the design. And then they'll send it to me and I'll say, "Oh, okay, yeah, looks lovely." Or I might say, "Could you maybe change the color of the dress or change the background?" And they're incredible with that, very incredible in that they will say, "Okay, yeah, we'll try and facilitate as much as possible," except for Scoundrel of Her Own, where I wanted the black hair girl on the cover. And they were like, "It's not possible." And I mean, she wears a blonde wig anyway, so we'll just keep. I've gotten so many emails about that. "Oh, why
Yeah.
does Ophelia have
Yeah.
blonde hair in the cover?" And I was like, I had no choice.
I know. I was like, if that was a wig, man, it's a really good wig.
Yeah. But I love the covers they do. I
Yeah.
think the artist is really incredible.
Yeah. That is funny that you said that. I immediately recalled that I was that
Yeah, I
I was like,
got
why is
several
her hair
emails
blonde?
about it. I got several emails about it and messages on all the different social media saying
Yeah.
why, oh, why.
Yeah. Well, it's still a pretty cover, so people can
I
just get
know, I love them. I think
that
that
dress
artist
on
is
that one
crazy.
is well, that's great. I'm glad because I have been so nervous for some of my favorite authors that they're gonna end up with cartoon covers or
Mhm.
stuff, and
Oh yeah, I don't want a cartoon cover.
I would be so sad if it
Mm-mm.
happens. I can't.
I think they're cute, but yeah,
Yeah, well, I don't know. It's a thing for me of like helping me get into the attitude of the book.
yeah,
I mean, I I do judge books by their covers, number 1,
hmm,
like, let's be real, we do, and number 2, it helps me be pulled into the time and, like, the magic of
yeah,
it when I see a pretty cover, so, when I have, like, an object cover or, a cartoon cover, I'm kind of like, "Well, now I
yeah,
feel like they're goofy." I know I shouldn't, but
yeah.
when there's, like,
That's
a
arbitrary.
cartoon,
I feel
it
like it's
feels like
more
it's
like of a
goofy.
romantic kind of comedy, or
Yeah.
it's more not so steamy. I love steamy stuff. Like I really love
Mhm.
hot books. I wish I could write hotter. Like that's how much I love it.
You write some pretty hot.
No way. I think I may be on the three level.
Well,
I'm
I don't know.
dabbling.
For historicals, that's good to me because again, what you said about like the heart to heart stuff, if you
Yeah,
built that up by the time they touch each other, it's like,
yeah.
whew, it's
I know,
there.
right?
It's
I
there.
know, right?
But I guess like it is true in some of your older ones. Because I had been reading through
Hmm.
some of your older titles last year, and I did notice that I was like, "Ooh, we get into this already. What's going on in here?" And I love all kinds, so
Yeah.
there's no problem for me.
Definite. And that's what I go back to what I was saying earlier about review when I think we were offline. It
Yeah.
was a 1-star review that made me pause. And she was like, "Oh, I love her books, but we get to the sexy time a little too quick and it feels to her like it's shallow." And I'd be like, "What do you mean?" And then I
Mm,
was like, "Okay, let me challenge myself a little bit and infuse a little bit more heart to heart in accidentally compromising the Duke." And then that's what happened. And the
yeah.
readers loved that book. I was
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Mhm. I something I also like in books that I mean, if an author is trying to tell that journey, I like because I
Mhm.
sometimes like when there's sex up front, whether because
Yeah.
it's a arranged marriage or whatever, but then there comes a point where they have sex and it scares them both because what
Mhm.
was just physical is now not. And
Yeah,
so I
and
like
that like,
because all of a sudden they're making love now and we're like, whoa, we didn't agree to this. We didn't agree to this. What's
exactly.
happening? That's another way I like
I like that.
it.
Now I feel like I need to go and read. You made me want to go and read.
Yeah. Well, you got to write me a great book, like you said, and then you can read.
Oh gosh. I'm trying to fit an Earl to remember. And it's getting there.
That's the really pretty yellow one, right? Right
Yes.
on the
Oh,
cover.
that cool.
That cover's open.
Yes. And it's actually book two to A Matter of Temptation.
No, it's not. Oh, I was hoping it was. It because that kind of has the same style as that one, right? I have to remember the picture. I don't know, but I was wondering if there would be more to that one or if it was a
It's it's
standalone.
it's very rakish friend Danielle.
Mm,
This book.
yeah,
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So your husband has a rakish friend, is that?
Ah, he has a rakish side.
I love. All right, all right.
Yeah.
All the
It,
sides, I love it.
pretty rakish side. So I'm like, pluck him all over. Piece of him is everywhere. Hey, he read my book. Because he reads all of my book and give me a
Yes.
critique. And
Mm-hmm.
he's reading and he stops and he's like, wait a minute. He's like, I did that last night. Why are you putting this in this book?
You got called out. You're like, I'm
Because
gonna make sure you're paying attention, honey.
and I was like, live with it.
You're married to a romance author. Did you
Exactly.
think this was free? Did you think
Mhm.
everything you do is free? I love that. I love that so much. Oops, people comments are going too fast. That one's inspired by Overboard, right? You said that. That's so cool. That's gonna be fun. Okay. So, what are some fun history tidbits that you've uncovered over the years? What's some of your favorites?
Oh wow.
I love knowing about the research aspect. Whichever people dive into.
I don't know. Oh,
There's so much, I'm sure.
like there's so much.
Yeah.
Like, actually, there is so much. Like, well, I one of the recent one, funny enough, which I put in the Wolf and the Wildflower, was about that boy that they found lost in the woods,
Yeah.
and he was really like feral, and they cruelly brought him to court and had him walking on all fours and
Yeah.
stuff like that to entertain society. I was like every little bit that I trickled in there about children that are lost in the wild, from the victor to everyone, they're all real characters. And I was like, wow, I did not know this.
Yeah.
And, reading their stories about how they were, assimilated back in society and stuff like that. So that was a good one. And even for Joe's character, I can't remember how I fell down the rabbit hole and discovered that you had several instances truly in history where you had ladies pretending to be men, like some for
Hmm.
years, some
Yeah.
that they only discovered upon death that hey, that look, hey, here is a female. And
Yeah.
like I wasn't researching these things for the book. I just come across them and I was like, here, this is a good idea here to build, something around this. So, oh God, there's so many and they're so blurred in my head. I
Yeah.
can't find nothing more specific or recent
Yeah.
than those.
Hey,
I'd
man,
have to
that's cool. I
like,
love I mean,
yeah.
I love some authors' notes where when people share like this was real, I found this, and
Yeah.
usually the craziest parts of stories are what's real because that's what
Mhm.
an author will build around. I mean, Lorraine
Yes.
Heath does that so often. She'll have something totally wacky happen and then in
Mhm.
the end be like, that crazy thing I put in, that's the real part.
It,
You're like,
it's pretty real. It always astonishes
"Real."
me too. And I'm like, this is pretty cool. So
Yeah.
even, you know, I've gotten an email, funny enough, just a couple of days ago to say that she read Wolf and the Wildflower. And while she loved it, she thought the concept was so bonkers and there is no way a lady could have been disguised as a gentleman for so long. And I'm like, yeah, but it happened. It
Yeah.
happened like several
Yeah.
times. And you know what I mean? And I'm like, but it happened. I thought it was just
Yep.
so like so many things that readers would think is not possible really
Yeah.
happened. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, like, and again, not to like spoil for everybody, but like the reasoning too behind it,
Yeah.
and like the stuff in the prologue, I was like, well, that's legit. Like that seems legit to me. I mean, it's crazy, but I mean, yeah, truth is stranger than fiction 100%. So I love that. Oh, it is FM. It is FM. Yep. There's no like there's no FF involved. Like it's FM. Where's the other F coming from? I'm confused. I love it. Nope, nope. There's a woman disguised as a man who meets a man and he smells her and knows she's a woman. There you go. That's the premise. You can sell that premise, Stacy. That's how it goes. A great love story for kids. I love it. This
Now I
one's
know I am cold.
what do you hope readers take away from your books?
That love is everything. Like,
I
that's one for you. Like,
love that.
seriously, like love is just everything. Like, I'm so used to people, even family. Oh, you're a romance writer. You write mommy porn. I'm like, life is love, though. I don't get it. It's like life is love. Like, I mean, what is greater than love? Like, it's always fascinating me, and that's just how I feel like love is everything. I'm like, if ever let a great action movie, I had to say to my father recently, "Oh, you love all your great action movies, but guess what? There's love threaded in between all of that with the hero and the heroine." So I'm like, I don't know. That's just always my thing that love is just everything. Like, love is all.
I
That's
love
just how
that.
I feel. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, people always are so cynical. You know,
Sometimes ridiculous.
when people, I mean, I don't feel like I ever get talked down to for reading romance. I've had other people, my friends, who say they do. I never have, probably because like my mom and my grandma, like they've always read romance. They read different
Yeah.
kinds than me, but they always read romance. And I mean, my dad was a big reader. He didn't really read romance, but he would never,
Yeah.
he didn't care what it was that I was reading. Um, and now it's my job to read and review it, which is amazing. And
You know, right?
nobody tells me no.
It's
Um,
amazing.
but I'm like, I have this discussion with my friends, like, why do people want to make it small? Because we want to read happy things instead of, like people don't judge people who read horror. And I mean, you're reading people's guts and like things
I
happening.
know. So
Why?
I was looking at a doctor recently, my new gynecologist, and he was like, "So what do you do?" I was like, "I write romance." And he paused and he was like, "Oh, like not a serious book?" And I glanced at his hand. I was like, "Aren't you married?" I said, "Isn't the greatest thing in your life your partner and your love story?" I'm sure it is. And I was like, "So what I do is that I tell the different journeys to love." So yeah, and he was like, "Oh, that's a good one. What do I write?" He look it up. And I was like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
he's acting like love is not everything." So fascinating.
Yeah. Well, and
Yeah.
just what people like think of it too. I don't know, because people hear romance books and they think that, and then it's kind of like, yeah, but it's joy. Like that's how I
Right?
explain it. Like, when someone asks like, why do you read romance? I'm like, because it's joyful.
Exactly. And it's
Whether I'm reading a dark romance and then it's finding joy through pain, or
yeah,
it's just joyful all the way through. Like
exactly.
that's what I love so much. So that's why your books are so romantic. It shows that you love love and easily shows in your stories.
Mhm.
Aw,
Mhm.
Renata, that's
Thank
beautiful.
you, Renata.
That's so sweet. Um, okay, so here is some juicy questions. What can you tell us about the TV show?
Oh, I know nothing. Oh, actually, what I do know is I read the pilot, or what would I say, episode one, and I think it's so incredible. And her name is so fascinating. Salone. She said like cologne, but Salone. Who is, I think she's the brain behind the production teams. I know she's the one adapting it for the screen. The last update I got from her is that she has some streaming services lined up to whatever it is that they're supposed to do. I don't know because I'm not that close to it. I wish I was, but I'm not. But she did send me the pilot in January to read, and I thought it was so amazing. And I was like, this is not my book. No way. I mean, it's there, but how she like expanded the world, and And I don't know why I find it so incredible. I remember I called her after and I was like, this is just incredible. And I really want this to happen. And yeah, go work.
I love
That
it.
was it. That was basically it. But I don't have much information about it. I wish I did.
I
I
love
wish
that.
I did. I've gotten so many questions, like so
Yeah.
many. Like, did you know this was in the works? And I'm like, no, because my publisher, they're the one that take care of all of that. My job is to write
Hmm.
and send it into the publisher. And then when they do all of these amazing deals and stuff, they will send me an email to say, oh, well, your book is in now in audio and in German and in Russian and in Spanish. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I just basically get notified about these things.
Right.
So yeah.
Do you like that? You don't have to worry about that stuff. Like you're
Yes.
happy with your how much
Yes.
control with your publisher. Good.
Yes.
I mean,
Definitely.
it sounds nice to me in some aspects. Some people are want the more control, and some people are like, I don't want to worry about it. I just want to write.
Mm, for me, currently, I'm okay with just being with my publisher. I don't have my capacity is not too much for me to do too much.
Hmm.
So I'm like, I'm okay with they having the reins and just taking care of stuff and let me do what I love the most, which is right.
Good.
So
I love
yeah,
that.
that's it for me for now.
All right. Did they have like a? It's still in the development part with that, or is there like tentative dates towards things, or
I
what?
think everything is still in the development stage.
Okay. Okay.
I think I really don't know. I do know they say they'll update me whenever it's, I suppose, necessary, and I was like, okay, cool.
All
I
right.
didn't even know the announcement was made. My friend Amelie, Amelie Howard, she's
Yeah.
very friend, love her.
Yes.
Amelie's the one who called me, and she's like, "Girl, why didn't you tell me this?" I was like, "Tell you what, what? I don't know." And she sent me the link, and I was like, "Oh." And then I, went and emailed them, and I was like, "Okay, what's going on?"
Yeah. Tell
Yeah,
me so that I can like be on
I
Instagram.
know, right?
Love it. All right. Well, good to know. I mean, I'm excited.
Me
I
too.
just want there's so
That's,
many amazing book series I would love to see as TV shows.
I was like, "What?" I
Yeah.
was like, "This will be so cool."
Yeah. That's gonna be awesome. That's great. Do you have any plans to return to paranormal or write in other subgenres?
Paranormal, yes. Ah, I it's kind of paranormal, yes.
Okay.
So the funny thing is that I have so many paranormal ideas, I don't know where to put them. I have this grand plan of completing my Amagarian series. I actually have book five completed, halfway, book six, halfway, book seven. And I'm like, at one point I'd put them up for pre-order and then I got so ill I had to
Yeah.
cancel. And I'm like, I need to I just want to finish the series at all 12 books and just say to my fans, here, they're all available at the same time. I don't know if it's realistic or maybe release them a week apart to see I've held on to them for so long. Here they are, and I love that series. And then I've actually did another series like more than 2 years ago. It's a Fated Maid Wolf, and I actually have three books in that series, and I'm like, when do I put them out? Because I have so many things going on with historical. I've thought about doing a pen name, moving my paranormals to the pen name so that I'm not told that, there's a clash with schedule because I have
Yeah.
to like check with my publisher. Can I self-publish? Will I clash with what you're doing? So that kind of makes it complicated to do my own
Sure.
independent stuff. So I've been
Right.
thinking, do a pen name, move all my paranormals to this pen name, and then establish them under this brand. So I've been thinking about doing that for this year, and it's there, just there. So I know I want to do that, and I won't stop because I really love. I don't know. I love alpha males. I love
Yeah.
power. I don't know. And I feel like when I write paranormal, I get to explore the full of that without being restrained in any way. and I love writing or crafting unrestrained. I love that. So a lot of my books, historical, especially Wicked Marcus and Devlin book, A Scoundrel of Her Own, I had to tone down my hero. Like my editors be like, no, too ruthless, do this. So I have to tone down and remove scenes, and I've done, and I was like, "Ugh, I just want. She hit the nail on the head because sometimes like, wonder, hey, I wonder if readers see how cold and they would have loved them the same. I don't know.
No.
But I
I
feel
mean,
like with paranormal, I get the chance to do that. I did write because actually I love dark stuff. And I was going through a phase once, and this was about 2 years ago, and I just wrote a dark romance. And
ooh.
I have that book sitting down. It was so dark and so sexy and so hot, and I have it sitting down, and I'm like, am I ever going to release this? It's a content burst from like, am I ever going to? Because I don't feel like I can just release one book as a standalone, whether it's hot and sexy and dark. So I'm like, so I just have a question mark around it for now. So I have
Right.
no idea what I'm eventually going to do with it.
Sure.
So
I
yeah.
mean, that pen name sounded really good because it sounds like
Mhm.
there's a lot of good stuff we could get from
I
that.
was really thinking about it. Well, I know that's what I'm going to do. I just
Right.
need to finish my books that are long overdue. And then before I can focus on that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I'm praying for inspiration and lots of healthy days.
I
So you can get
accept
it
it.
out. That's right. Um, is there a place you've traveled that you would like to write about?
Um, no, I haven't traveled a lot. But I want to write about the place I've lived, which is Jamaica. Um, I want to write historicals with Jamaican heroine. I actually start one. I more than halfway I do that. Like if I tell you the amount of work in progress I have, you'd be shocked. I think it's about
I'm
26.
getting the idea, Stacy. Yeah.
I think it's about 27. And oh, what's it called? I started a lot of time I'll just come up with I block my face from you? I don't know.
No, you're still there. It is getting a little dark in your room, though. I don't know if you're having
Yeah,
to
I
turn on a
can
light or
uh,
something for you.
yeah, give me a second.
Okay. I was like, your bright robe is keeping, or your fuzzy's keeping it. There we
Is
go.
it better?
That's perfect. Perfect. There you go. I was like, the light is fading.
I am working on a book, and it's about my heroine. She's Jamaican, or she's half caste like myself, and
Hmm.
it's all in Victorian era. And I think I named it Petal on the River. I think I need to change it because when I search, there is another title like that, and I need to find a different title.
Hmm.
I really love that book. I'm only halfway because I don't know what I'm doing with it as yet. But I really want to write a lot of stories that will draw from my culture, my cultural background in Jamaica, and I'm hoping I can start to launch that like next year.
Okay.
So I'm really hoping for that. So that's it.
Awesome.
I haven't been to a lot of places. It's my wish to travel the world. I've only been here, Canada, Jamaica, Trinidad, and London, and New York. And for me,
Okay.
that's not a lot.
Yeah.
So
I haven't went many places either, but
yeah,
it's
so
fun.
that's one
I
of my dreams.
I love to hear you're thinking about writing Jamaican. I did have a couple questions, people asking if there would be some POC couples you would want to write.
Definitely, because the books that I write with drawing from that cultural experience will be mostly POC.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that'd be awesome. I mean,
definitely.
I would just love getting to read that from you who's lived it too, and not. I mean, 'cause plenty of authors can do the research in it, but when it's your own
Because I
culture,
did.
it's so
When I
powerful.
was there last year, I did tons of research and went to so many historic sites. I went to a couple of plantations. I took so many pictures and notes, and I took so many information, and I'm like, I just need to put this all together and just write.
Yeah. That's awesome. Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited for all this. I love it. So great. Um, let's see. Everyone who's watching, I just have two more pre-asked questions. So if you guys want to put any in, we'll do maybe 15 more minutes of open questions. So go ahead and throw those in the comment section there. So what can you tell us about the next release you have coming, or the ones this year? You said you have four
The,
titles.
I'm working for 4 to 5.
Yeah.
I'm really working on those. And Wolf and the Wildflower is coming, I think, is it next week? The
Ye-
27th?
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
Next Tuesday.
Yeah. So that's coming. And then I'm working for something to also come in June. And then an Earl to Remember is in August. The Rose and the Raven, which should be book two to Wolf and the Wildflower, should be here in October.
Okay.
And then stuff. So which
Right.
one though? When you said the next release, Wolf and the Wildflower, Earl to Remember. The book in June I'm working on would be Wedded by Scandal 5. So
Really?
I've been working on that book forever. And I'm like,
Okay.
I need to I get so many emails. I
Right.
get so many emails about my different series. And I feel
Mhm.
like I'm in that place where I just want to answer all the questions
All right.
that I've been asked. I want to do all the books that I've been asked about. And
Yep.
I'm just in that place. And I'm also working on Sinful Wallflowers 4. So, which I had to start, funny enough, because of the TV series where they needed information on all the sinful wallflowers. And because I had to do that, Caroline and Marcus of Sand story just like came to life in a burst. And one night I just sat and I just just started writing, and their story is there. So that is something I would need to approach my publisher about to say, do you want the rest of the Sinful Warfare series, or should I just self-publish them? What if I self-publish them? I'll release them like a month apart, starting December. If
Mhm.
they say, okay, I'm interested, and I think their offer is decent, maybe they'll release them. Unfortunately, once a year for the next 3 years, or maybe every 6 months for the next 2 years.
Okay.
So that,
Wow.
but the next release is Wolf on the Wildflower, which I'm really excited about because the early reviews have been great, and I've gotten a lot of early messages to say, they're fascinated about this Duke who was lost in the wild for 10 years, and who, Jules or Heron is helping him assimilate back into society, and they like it, which I'm so happy about because I was nervous about it, and I'm
Yeah.
glad I decided to actually write the series, even though I know it's going to be so different. I'm so glad I did it. And an Earl to Remember is, as I said, book two for Matter of Temptation. I'm naming that series Unforgettable Love Series. And here is Daniel, who is a rake, pretty overboard, fell off his yacht, and it a little bit of overboard, maybe 20-30%, and the rest is just yummy goodness.
Yay. Oh, that's so cool. I didn't realize so much for series we already have going too, because I haven't finished Wedded by Scandal series yet, so I didn't know we were missing one. So I'm
Yeah,
just
we're missing, I think, two.
wow. All
Yeah.
right. I'm
So I'm
excited.
like, I need to just finish those 2 books.
Yeah. See, when I really love an author, I get very like covetous of their books, and I don't
Yeah.
like to binge them the way I used to because I'm afraid of running out. Like I only have five Lisa Kleypas left, and who knows
Uh,
if she's writing another book. So I'm like, I don't want to read them. I don't want to read
it
them.
kills me when they're like a year apart. So I do understand sometimes when I get emails. I was like, oh, I feel for you because I'm a reader too. I do
Yeah,
understand.
yeah. That's the tough with the publisher. That part of it is like it's understandable. They got to space out everybody's books.
Yeah.
I mean, it's exciting. And then, do you have any plans for any book signings that are near you or you'll be able to
Oh
do?
man, I was to do Rare London this year,
Mhm.
and I was to do Steam Con this year as well. They were my first two ever book signing I signed up for, and I was so incredibly excited to say that I'm going to meet my author friends face to face. I've never met another author face to face, never.
Wow.
Never. Um, I've never met a fan face to face, and I was like, I would love to do this, and I committed. And then my little brother, who I love dearly, got ill, and he's really ill. I had to make a decision to say, okay, I'm going to move back home to Jamaica for a bit. I was there since January. I just came back here to Canada, and then I'm going back in a couple of weeks. I basically just come back here to kind of pack up and go. And then his health care is my responsibility financially. So I had to
Yeah.
be like, okay, I have to make a decision. How do I come up with the 75,000 USs I need to come up with in the next like few months to ensure that
Mhm.
he has the best care possible. And I'm like, so I'll have to cancel Rare and cancel Steam Con. So I just did that yesterday, and then I'll have
Mm.
to produce my best work so that he can sell and
That's
like
right.
be there with him. So that's my plan for this for the next 6 months, and then hope he'll still be here
Yeah.
because I can't bear the idea of losing him. So I need to do everything that's
Yeah.
possible for him to be here. Yeah.
Yep. That's a
So
good
hopefully
decision.
next year, I'll because I did commit to doing a rare Paris and a rare Scotland next year. So I'm hoping, all goes well and praying, and I'll also be
Yeah.
able to do that.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
I'll be praying that. So,
Thank you.
but I mean, family and love first.
And
So, absolutely.
and and he got out of bed yesterday, and I've been so happy since then to say that he's up and to say that he got up. Just yay.
Yeah.
So,
Stop it. That's awesome. Okay. Couple happy questions here. We got, who are some of your favorite historical romance authors?
eh, the goodies. I love Judy McNaught, Elisa Claypass, Linda. No, not Linda. Julie Garwood. Um, I have people here I love. I mean, I love Amelie Howard
Yeah.
and Tamara Gill, and mostly, I love Mary Farmer, Scarlett Scott.
Ooh, yeah.
I
Great.
love Lorraine Heath.
Yeah. Her newest book was so
Um, like those are the artists I love. I mean, I'm sure there are many, 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 many more.
good. Yeah.
Because I tend to love most books that I read. As you say, if I don't really love it, I just like, eh. I
Yeah.
mean, I know that it's maybe just my taste and
Yeah.
not the author writing. But if I had to say an absolute favorite, I would maybe give it to Lisa.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's so
I love
good.
her.
She's so good.
I love
She
her. I have
needs to
not,
give us another book.
and it's funny, I've not read any of her last maybe 8 release. I've not read any of them.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, I'm stockpiling them to see one
Yeah.
day when I'm not so busy, I am just going to snuggle in this very hoodie you see right here. I'm just snuggle down and I'm just gonna read.
Yeah. Her heroes,
Yeah.
man. Like that's what I base my historical love off of. I just gotta be real. Like the historical heroes are just, and we like the the Ravenel series, like
Yeah, I have not read any as yet. I've not
yeah,
read any. I
like
see
the
them. I have a
last
few, but I've not read them
yeah,
as yet.
I
I don't
know.
know how.
Oh, so good. They're so good. But yeah, she has a special talent. She has a special
Mhm.
talent. It's great. Um, would you ever write a pirate romance? Have you written a
I
pirate before?
would. Yeah, Joanna Lindsay.
No, no.
Um,
Written. Have you?
no, never. I would. I would. I love Black Seals, even though it was heartbreaking in many places. I love that series. I would. I would. I
That's
actually
awesome.
would.
I write a good one. I get see people ask me for pirate wrecks all the time, and I've read two. I'm like I've read
Right.
because I'm like pirates are one of those that like they're done so much in historical.
Yeah, they are.
But yeah, there are quite a
Yeah.
few. There's a lot. I mean,
Mm,
um, I have one of the ones I really want to read. Is it Captivated? Beverly Jenkins had that one's a pirate one.
possibly, I don't
Captivated.
know.
Yeah, I really want I really want to read that one. And then like some of Joanna Lindsay's.
Yeah, all
It's,
the ones I've read before are from Joanna Lindsay.
Yeah.
I haven't read anymore.
Well, you guys are making her list longer. So pirate romance,
I feel like I
that
want to.
could probably pair with someone in Jamaica, right? Like there could be a
I
pirate.
know. I know because of a part of my research last year when I went to Port Royal and took so many pictures and was reading the history, I was like, how could I have lived here for most of my life and I did not know this? It was so fascinating and I just want to bring all of that to life. No, you're listening to me thinking about a pirate series. Like,
I mean, I think it would be pretty good.
you
I
know,
think
right?
it's pretty good. It's the perfect setting. When you said you wanted stuff set in Jamaica, I was like, this is it. That's where we
Yes.
Um, Renata wants to know if you ever offer signed books at all.
Well, what do you mean?
Yeah. See, I don't know if we mean is there like a certain bookshop that you provide signed books to at all? I know some authors have them near them and you could
As
order.
in, like, I signed them and
Yeah.
no, but I have some on my bookshelf now. I could send you some, Renata. I could send you, um,
Renata, we're getting it right now.
send you, I could sign these three and send to you if
Oh
you,
my
put this. It is Her Wicked Markers, Scoundrel for On, The Matter of Temptation. Yeah, I could send you these three.
gosh. There we go.
Off to you tomorrow,
There we
and
go.
I'll sign them.
Oh,
Now, that is something I could find out about from my publisher.
yeah. Well, I
They
know.
know I'm such a recluse. I don't think they bother me a lot,
Right.
but I can find out. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it'd be fun if there's uh, either like a bookshop near you that you can
Mm-hmm.
go in and sign their stock.
There
I know.
probably is. I need to find out.
She's like, if I ever went anywhere, you know.
I know, right?
Because I know even like Diana Gabaldon, she has a shop in
Mhm.
her
Oh,
hometown.
that's so cool.
Yeah. And I'm like, well, I need to make that on a road trip.
Yeah, well, then Diana is huge.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I always get asked, when are you going to interview Diana Gabaldon? I was like, I don't know. Why don't you start praying really hard?
I know, right?
Because that's my wonderful viewers
Right,
assuming that I would
right.
live through that. Do people think I
Right.
would live through that?
Exactly. I'd be here no matter what I'm doing. I'd be like, nothing. I'm dropping everything to be here.
Some days I get really spicy and I'm like, I should just email her. I'm just gonna email her
You should.
now.
You should.
I mean, who knows? That's the thing. I've seen her do some interviews with really small
Mm-hmm.
people before. And then I'm just like, but I would have to be able to be articulate while speaking. And
You're amazing. You should.
also, there's like no question she hasn't asked.
Yeah.
Like even these like questions I ask every author, like I've
Yes.
heard her answer them 50 times. Like, how did you start writing? I could tell that story in my sleep. So
Yeah.
oh, it's so funny. But anyway. Well, we had lots of people wishing you and your family well. That's
Thank you,
amazing.
guys.
Um, and yay, that's so great. But otherwise, I mean, if nobody had any other questions, we will let Stacy get back to reading and writing.
Right.
We'll rest our poor throats.
I know, right? And eating.
Yeah, but yeah, thank you everyone for coming, Stacy. Thank you for
You're so
giving us some of your
welcome.
time and making it through for.
And thank you for inviting me. Being so patient because I know I canceled before.
Oh, that's all right. Your health's more important than this, absolutely. But I'm glad you're feeling well. And yeah, thanks everyone for watching. And next week, if you're interested, we're gonna have Lily Main here talking about monster romance. So
Oh yes, I love monster romances.
oh yeah.
Oh my gosh. I've been thinking about writing some and I'm like, oh, I just have too many ideas.
I was like, don't tease us about monster beings. Okay, we can't. All right.
Many.
Well, good night, everyone. I will go ahead
Good
and
night,
end.
guys. And Renata, send me your